Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and this time I review, I'd probably say my absolute favorite of the Halloween franchise, believe it or not. That is Halloween 2. Now, I know there's a Blu-ray out. I'm not buying the Blu-ray because I don't believe in that Blu-ray. There's really not much for features. Their big feature is some kind of documentary on horror films from the 80s that really doesn't have much to do with Halloween 2. It's called Terror in the Isles. I would much rather see a documentary on the actual film. That'd be nice. But Halloween 2 came out in around 81. Of course, this is when the slasher film genre was doing a big boom after Friday the 13th. And by 1981, you're already seeing films like Friday the 13th Part 2, uh, My Bloody Valentine, just all sorts of horror films, slasher films. And John Carpenter didn't want to do a sequel. He's like, I told everything I wanted to in the first film, but he helped pen the script. Yes, it's written by John Carpenter and Debra Hill. And John Carpenter first wanted to do Tommy Lee Wallace, same guy who would go on to do Halloween 3, Stephen King's It, but he didn't want to do it. So they got this guy, Rick Rosenthal, who had not really done much by then. And even after this, he still really hasn't done a whole lot. I can't really remember off the top of my head what Rick Rosenthal, other than Halloween Resurrection, which this film is a lot better than Halloween Resurrection. But yeah, he basically did a lot of TV series. That's mainly it. Uh, Directed something called American Dreamer, Roosties, Distant Thunder. Yeah, a lot of TV stuff. Some episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. An episode here and there of 90210, Flash Gordon, Point Pleasant, True Calling, Smallville. So I guess he didn't really go on to do much. But I know there's a little bit of controversy for a number of things. Number one, uh, it was actually John Carpenter himself when he saw it, he put more gore into the script, and I think he actually filmed a little bit of additional gore scenes. I believe he filmed it. I know there's a little bit of controversy because I know Rick Rosenthal got pissed because Rick Rosenthal wanted to be, no blood, not that much blood and gore and stuff like that. But I think John Carpenter, I guess he sort of realized this sort of how the gore factor was really getting, and maybe that's what audiences would want to see. So he actually refilmed some of the death scenes and put a little bit more gore into them. And he did some post-production work on it as well to try to make the film scarier. But I really enjoy this film. I really do. The reason this is my favorite, I mean, the story is fairly simple. It takes place same night as the first film. Laurie Strode has gone to the hospital while Loomis is trying to find Michael Myers. And then Michael Myers gets to the hospital and starts killing people one by one. Pretty simple plot. I like that. But also, it was the first Halloween film I ever saw. This was the very first one I saw on VHS. And I just think it does a lot of things right. It does. I think Donald Pleasence is fantastic in this movie. I love the way it opens, where it's the ending of the first film. And when he comes out and that guy's neighbor says, "Man, I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is," and you have that great score, which John Carpenter and Alan Howarth, Carpenter and Howarth did. I love the way it opens, the music. I don't know if it's just because it's done more of with a synthesizer than a piano. That boom, 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 boom. gives a more eerie feel to it, very creepy feel to it with the score. I love that bit. And even the opening, which I gotta say, after seeing Halloween 1 and 2, I missed that the credits, the credits, they would roll an orange color, which I thought was cool, just give that Halloween feel. It'd be kind of nice if they redid that again. Well, I don't want to see any more Halloweens after Rob Zombie shit, but I just meant it would have been nice if they kept with that motif instead of just the regular white credits. I like the way with the pumpkin that behind the pumpkin there's this skull that's hidden behind the pumpkin. I like the way they did the opening credits. Um, some people say, well, Jamie Lee Curtis she had a really easy job because she was basically in a bed, but it made sense. I mean, her character went through a lot of stuff. It made sense that she was out of it in bed and she was hurt, and she was still a good presence. A lot of people made fun of her wig, but I never had a problem with it, to be honest. I really didn't. She was supposed to look like kind of like shit. I think she held her own at the end. I just thought the film had the best pace of the Halloween films. It still has that very. I think Rick Rosenthal did a good job. He did a much better job here than Halloween Resurrection, but I think he did a very, very solid job with the suspense, with the mood, with the atmosphere, which really keeps in touch with the first film. But then at the same time, you also have definitely a bigger body count. You have more graphic kills than the first film. When he's in the hospital, you have which reminded me a lot of one of the Friday the 13th sequels. I think that was part 2, weirdly enough, in the same year, where you have a guy who's kind of like he's not a cop, he's the guard, and he gets killed with the claw hammer and with the hammer. Which is weird. I think Jason killed a guy in the back of the head with a claw hammer in part 2, and here it's just boom, right in the front. I like the way it was done here, though, better. I will admit that. Needle. One person finds a doctor with a needle in his eye, and then I love the scene where the nurse backs up and Michael Myers appears and jams the needle like right here. It's like close up. Ooh, simple but yet effective. Of course, you have the woman who her head gets done and she gets scalded, burned. I thought the cast all did a more than capable job. I never hated anybody in this film. It was nice to see Lance Guest in there. Of course, would go on to be the last Starfighter. It was always weird. I don't even know if you want to call it a death scene, because he finds a woman who's basically her blood is now all on the floor, and he slips, and he must have done most of this fall, because you look at the DVD, you see that Lance Guest, he really slams, boom, like there's a shot, and you see him in the you see him, boom, head and all, boom. It looks like it hurt like fucking shit. But then later on, he tries to start the car with Laurie there. He's like, yeah, I think I'm. And then he like falls on the car horn and then falls back. And you're like, that's a weird death scene. It's because he wasn't meant to die. Because you see some of the TV versions, Lance Guest survives. He's with the ambulance with Laurie Strode. I don't know why they cut that out. I think it would have been fine to put that in there. I would have liked it more, I guess. But I think what I like about the film, I think, once again, Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence do a great job. Donald Pleasence feels like he gets to be more active. He's searching with the cops more. Of course, you have the opening, like the ending of Halloween, where he shoots Michael Myers. A scene where they think they see Michael Myers, he's about ready to shoot him or tell him to halt, and then this cop like hits the guy right into another vehicle and burns. And they don't know, is that him? You feel more sorry for Loomis's character, because like the sheriff, Charles Cypher, he keeps fucking saying for some reason, you let him out, you let him out. Loomis keeps saying he didn't, and he did let him out. We saw in the first film. He didn't want Michael Myers to do anything. He arrived there and he had already escaped. Blame the motherfuckers in the asylum not doing their job. But then, of course, Charles Cypher finds his his daughter dead from the first film, and blames Loomis once again. It's like, it's not his fault, for fuck's sake. Leave him alone. I think what really helps with this film, not only does it keep the, again, like I said, it keeps the very dark, moody, solid atmosphere, and the score, along with a bigger body count and kills. So you have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. The hospital setting is a big reason, too. I think that's one of the reasons why I remember at first I saw this film called Visiting Hours. I gave it praise. I talked to my friend Effrey. I'm like, oh, I really like it. Because I'm a sucker for a slasher film that takes place in a hospital. That's why I really liked Silent Rage. Well, that and Chuck Norris. I really like this film, Halloween 2, because I think the hospital is creepy enough to be in that is a great setting for a slasher film. But the thing is, I saw Visiting Hours, and watching Silent Rage again, and then seeing this film again, and how good and solid they did it, I don't give credit to Visiting Hours anymore. I really don't. Visiting Hours sucks. And they don't use William Shatner enough in that flick, but that's just my opinion. Halloween 2 just did so much better film. But the hospital setting is great. They still keep the suspense. Like when Michael Myers is just waiting there, he's still the shape. Like he's in a room full of babies. And he's just watching. Like, holy shit, he's in a room full of babies. You realize, oh shit, is he going to do something? But they don't. Rightfully so. It's just a very solidly paced. All the actors do their jobs well. I really like the girl who gets killed, where they kind of make an ode to this in H2O, where she gets stabbed in the back and lifted up and her slippers fall to the ground, her shoes fall to the ground. I thought that actress did a really good job. I think the character's name was Jill. Oh, she's Jill Valentine! No, which I'm not put on Wikipedia. They don't fucking say her name, so I'll go to IMDb then. But I liked her. I thought she was a sweetheart. This gets a 6.3 on IMDb, which that's better than I thought it would be. So I'm glad for that. Trying to find the fucking cast. Yeah, I think it's Tawny Moyer. I really liked her and Lance Guest the most. I know Leo Rossi, who went on to be in a few flicks. He's one of the guys who works at the hospital as well. But I think the cast did fine. The hospital is a great, moody, eerie setting. The ending is terrific, where Laurie Strode trying to escape. I like the idea, which kind of makes sense when people mention how this is around this time of Empire Strikes Back. So, Luke, I'm your father. Now you say Michael Myers is, her brother. So yeah, that, I know John Carpenter had a hard time thinking of anything for the sequel. I know it tells the story where, he had some beer and came up with, oh, okay, I guess I'll make you the brother. But I think that actually works out very well. It's an explanation as to why he's doing it, but it's not in your face, and it doesn't seem that stupid, in my opinion. I think it works fairly well. I think it gives a little bit more meat to it. Some people say it takes it away. I thought it worked well. And what's nice is with the ending, I love Donald Pleasence in this film, where he's forced to go back. They even have a marshal there. That's when he finally finds out. Someone tells him that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister. And he takes his gun out. I was like, what do they tell you, Phil? It's usually fire a warning shot, boom, shoots out the fucking window and makes the guy turn around. And what I love in the ending, this is like the only time we have Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis in the same scene. In the same frame, that is. Great, in the ending of Halloween, they're in the same scene, but they're never in the same frame. It's one shot on Jamie Lee Curtis and one shot on Donald Pleasence. This is the only time where you see this. Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis side by side in one fucking frame. It's kind of weird. These two great characters, and this is the only time they're side by side, and that's great. The kudos to that. I love the bit where Donald Pleasence is trying to be smart, and the guy's like, he shoots Michael Myers again, and the dumbass guy's trying, and Donald Pleasence like, keep away from him, just stay away, and the guy's like, okay. And when the guy does stupid thing again, Donald Pleasence gets pissed. I said, stay away from him. But he's dead, and he gets his throat slit. I like that Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis seem to be helping each other out as well, and get to the moment where Donald Pleasence gets stabbed. She grabs a gun, and I love this, shoots Michael Myers right in the eyes. Boom, boom. I love that scene where you see the blood just drip down the mask. I thought that was a really cool image that I remember for a long time. I just let the blood just boom. And he's about ready to get Laurie Strode, but then Donald Pleasence unleashes some of the gas tanks and the noise. And I like that Michael Myers has to do this and can't see. I thought it was a really cool image. But then Laurie Strode helps Donald Pleasence out by getting more gas. So it's a Laurie Strode that is still ticking, that's strong, that is not a wimp. Like in my opinion, Stout Taylor straight out of Compton, the newer remakes, which I hate with a passion. Laurie Strode is doing something. And then Donald Pleasence tells her to get out, lights the lighter, and blows everything up. Which, you see this explosion again. Halloween 4 doesn't make sense that Donald Pleasence would survive. Or that Michael Myers would just be a little bit burned. Just Michael Myers walks out, faces down, and you see the fire engulf the face. Like, there's nothing there. I really like Halloween 4, though. I'll get to that. But seeing this again, it's like, Donald Pleasence, it's a big fucking explosion. Donald Pleasence is dead. Michael Myers is ashes. But, you know, I still like Halloween 4. Just not 5 or 6, which I'll get to. But really great ending. This film has a lot of things going for it. That's why it's my favorite. Not only because it's the first one I saw, but I think it definitely has an ending. There's no room for a sequel at the end. The hospital setting is awesome. It's a great setting for a horror movie, slasher movie. It's moody and eerie. I think Rick Rosenthal did a more than capable job with carrying on the mood and atmosphere of John Carpenter's original. But he also did a bigger body count, so you get some good kills. The score, I like the score. This and Halloween 3 are my favorite scores of the Halloween series. This one I like the synthesizer. I'm a fan of John Carpenter's synthesizer scores. And this appealed to... I love the score to the original Halloween, but this one just stuck with me more, especially in the very opening. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. This is really eerie. I would play it, but they would flag me for copyright, so whatever. And Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence do a great job. An awesome ending where they're both finally together in the same fucking frame. Michael Myers, I will say, he looks fine. Dick Warlock does a good job. The only problem is the wig, like the hair part. Well, I don't know why it looks kind of reddish. Because I thought in the original Halloween, didn't he have black hair? Or the wig was black? But here it's like more of a sort of reddish color. I would have liked it more of the, same black. At least I remember the black. If they just had used the same as that mask from the first film. But this one is fine. It's just, that would have been better. I don't know if they didn't keep it or they fucked it up or what. But either way, cast does fine. The mood, the hospital setting, the good kills, bigger body count, but the mood and atmosphere is still there. Love the score, love the ending. Again, the only two little things is Michael Myers, get the original mask. They should have done that. And they should have had Lance Guest be there at the end, because it doesn't make sense that he just passes out and that's his death scene. Like, granted, You still don't know whether he's alive or dead. I don't know if I'm supposed to assume he's alive or dead because I've seen that TV edit where, the extended ending. So it was sad to see Donald Pleasence. Well, I just didn't die because he was in Halloween 4, but by itself it was sad to see, but at least it was a lot better than Halloween 6 or anything like that. Like, at least he did it as a hero. He did the right thing. Loomis is a badass in this film. That's what I liked as well. But yeah, I love Halloween 2. The real Halloween 2, not Rob Zombie's Fuckfest H2. But Halloween 2, this is my favorite Halloween film. I think for sequels, this is how sequels should be done. Very solid, awesome sequel. And again, like I said, it is my favorite Halloween film. So stay tuned till next time, and I'll talk about the very underrated Halloween 3 later.